Hey, welcome. In today's video, we're going to talk about why men shut down. And a lot of the reasons why men shut down are different than you think. You see, I coach a lot of ladies, a lot of women. I coach men too. And many of the men tell me the reasons that they actually shut down and stop communicating. But the reasons are not what you think. Hey, I'm Coach Ken, and I help people navigate navigate the complexities of modern day relationships. So I'm a relationship coach and a communications expert, and I help keep relationships together and I help bring them together. And on this video, hey, you're gonna stay tuned and I'm gonna show you why they shut down and then what you can do to avoid it moving forward. And if you like these videos, hey, we want you to subscribe to the channel. And look, somewhere on this page, I don't know where y'all, but somewhere on this page, there'll be other content just like this. So let's hop in. I'm gonna give you the 7 reasons, or the 7 reasons a man may shut down. And I want you to contemplate your situation, whether you're dating, whether you're in a relationship, of why your guy just stopped talking or communicating. The number one reason why men shut down is childhood conditioning. And you might say, Coach, what do you mean? So when I say this on a lot of my videos, I get a lot of people to push back. A lot of ladies say, he just don't communicate. Then forget the relationship. And I said, well, wait a minute. What if I told you that men are conditioned not to communicate? And then a lot of them say, I don't believe it. That's not true. And I say, okay, let me explain. How many of you have young men, young boys? You have sons, okay? And they said, and a lot of people raise their hand, yes, I have a son. But how many of you out there, either your brother or your sons, you've told them when something happens to them when they're young, you say, hey, suck it up, be tough, don't cry, don't whine about it, don't be a little bitch. Now, how many times has that happened? Many, too many to count, right? And I tell people when we were young, our subconscious has been programmed not to communicate because of statements like this. What these statements do, what this kind of interaction does, it gets the young man, the young boy, to connect the dots that if I communicate my emotions, I will be deemed as weak. Now you can sit there and say, that's not true, but wait a minute, let me go further. Then that young man grows up because his subconscious mind from the 3rd trimester in his mother's stomach to 7 years old, this is when his subconscious mind is being formed. Now, that young boy grows up to be a teenager with the same subconscious programming. Then he grows up to be a young man, same subconscious programming. And then he grows up to be 40 years old and he's never been taught that it's okay to communicate, that it's okay to share your emotions. It's okay to become emotionally intelligent. And then he gets in a relationship with you. And then you want him to communicate, but he's never been taught how to communicate, and you don't know how to nurture that communication. You don't know how to set the table for that communication, and you just think, I'm gone because he doesn't communicate. Yes, but he's been conditioned to communicate, but to not communicate, but you don't know that. Just saying. Number 2, why a man shuts down is because he's embarrassed. He's embarrassed, and when a man gets embarrassed, many times, especially from the people, the ladies that we have affinity for, somebody that we care about, we don't want to put ourselves out there. We don't want to talk about the areas of our shortcomings. So what we do is we don't say anything. And sometimes men will even lie. One of the things that they may lie about is you know what, how much money they make. They may lie about their financial conditioning, the financial conditions. And so instead of saying it, what he does is he doesn't say anything because maybe he's embarrassed about not being in a position or a place that he might want to be in or that you might think he should be in. So what does he do? Instead of even talking about it and communicating about it, what he does is he doesn't say anything because of embarrassment. Number 3, this is a big one. Now, a lot of y'all ain't gonna like to hear this one. It's because he feels disrespected. When he feels disrespected, he doesn't want to talk many times. Now, you have some men that will confront you when you disrespect them. They will start talking to you. They will say, I don't like it. And then it becomes a combative relationship. Well, you have some men who have what we call an avoidant attachment style. And this avoidant attachment style means they begin to disconnect from the relationship, disconnect from the communication. They pull back. And then when they start pulling back, you're like, what's wrong? What's happening? Now, I got to say this. There is a term called emasculation. And so it's a real thing. Emasculate, when a woman emasculates a man, okay? Meaning she tells him what he should be. She is not okay with who he is. Oh, you ought to do it this way. You ought to do it that way. Or I don't like the way you speak this. I don't like the way you do this or that. And the man feels emasculated in the relationship. Instead of telling you that he feels emasculated, instead of telling you that he would like for you to communicate differently, instead of telling you that this makes me feel a certain way, what does he do? He simply shuts down. He simply doesn't say anything because he's feeling disrespected. Y'all, okay, I'm just the messenger. Don't shoot the messengers. Don't shoot the messenger. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to begin looking at yourself. And I want you to begin thinking about, could I be doing any of these things? Could any of these things be happening? And it's not all of the reasons why a man shuts down is not because of you. It could be because of some things that are working internally in him, but you are unaware of it. All right. Number 4. The fourth reason that a man shuts down is because he does not want confrontation. There are some men who says, I just want peace. And instead of me communicating, talking to you, or arguing with you is what he says. I don't want to argue. So what I do is I'll just shut down. I won't say anything. Well, one of the things that I will say, that actually is one of the reasons why the relationship will not work. Whenever you have a person who internalizes communication, whenever you have a person who internalizes the relationship, the negative things about the relationship, as opposed to communicating about the negative things in the relationship, then what that person does is, listen to me, there is a seed planted in the relationship, a seed of resentment, a seed of discouragement, and actually a seed of, sometimes even hatred of the other person. And that's why I say the most important thing, you must be willing to communicate. And so he doesn't want confrontation. The fifth reason why men shut down is because he feels unheard. He feels like no matter what happens, no matter what I say, you're not going to listen, you're not going to take heed to it, so why say it? So I feel like I'm not heard in the relationship. I feel like my opinion does not matter. I feel like what I say does not have any merit as it pertains to you. And especially if the woman makes more money than him. Now, I've seen this a lot of times. Because she makes more money, she feels like her opinion carries more weight. Now, that might not be you, or it might be you. Either way, y'all, that part of the relationship, when a man feels unheard, he's either going to shut it down or internalize it, like I said before, or he's going to be heard by someone else. Or he's going to take it because he doesn't know how to handle it and go talk to somebody else about what he feels. Doesn't mean it's going to lead to an affair. It could, because I want to tell you this. People talk about intimacy. I teach people what intimacy is. Intimacy is not sex. Intimacy is a part of sex many times. But intimacy is sharing. Intimacy is when you can share your fears, your desires, the things that bother you. And when I'm being intimate with someone else, because I'm sharing, When I don't feel heard in my relationship, what am I going to do? I'm going to start disconnecting from the relationship, but I'm going to look for another connection to be heard. Whee! Number 6, he doesn't know how to communicate effectively. That goes back to number 1. He wants to say it, he doesn't know how to say it. Or he's worried about how you will react to what he's about to say. So, you know what he does? He makes a calculation that it's better for me because I don't know what to say. I don't know how to say it. And then I don't know how you're going to respond because a lot of times when he says what it is he wants to say, what do? Pop off. You ever heard the song, I'm going to pop off. Or in other words, instead of listening, what we want to do is we want to wait so we can talk. We either listen to the 4 things we do. We either justify the behavior, we either deflect, we either protect ourselves, okay? Or either defend ourselves. We defend, protect, deflect, and when we do those 4 things right there, the other person says, you know what? It doesn't matter. And last but not least, the 7th reason why men shut down is simply to preserve the relationship. And you might say, Coach, what? Preserve the relationship. Yes, I said it. They say, you know what? It's better. I don't need to fight about it. Let me preserve this relationship. Let me just keep it to myself. That way, because if I start arguing, the relationship might be in jeopardy because I see that we don't handle conflict well. So I make a calculation. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to preserve this relationship. I'm just going to shut the hell up. Those are the reasons, the 7 reasons why men shut down. I want you to think about those reasons. Could you be a factor or a catalyst to create better communication in your relationship? Just a thought.